Welcome to Chalk Talk, Danville Public Schools weekly news magazine. I'm Diane Locker, your host. We're spending this week at Langston Focus School because I got two really great programs going on here. The first half of the show, we're going to be talking about a program that's called Jobs for Virginia Graduates. That's a special program that we have only here at Langston Focus School. I'm going to start off the show by talking with Mrs. Thomas, who is the instructor here for the program. Ms. Thomas, how long have you been teaching this class?
This is actually my first year as a job specialist here at Langston Focus School for this particular program. I actually started back in July and worked up until the school year started.
Now, you're the instructor in this program, but you're also called the job specialist, and I'm
Yes.
gonna get to that particular position in a little bit. I want to talk about Jobs for Virginia Graduates. Now, it's part of Jobs for America's Graduate,
Yes.
and it's a grant program. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. What Jobs for Virginia Graduates does is it prepares our students for careers. Our motto is from classroom to careers, and we teach these skills under 6 categories, and they fall under 37 competencies, which includes career development, job attainment, basic career skills, personal development, and career survival.
I'm glad you remembered all of those. I had them written down and would have had to have read them out loud, but you've got it down pat. Now, you're what's called a job specialist, and it's my understanding that even after these students go through this course, pass all these 37 competencies and do all those things, they get let's say they graduate.
Mm-hmm.
They get follow-up with you, don't they? And that's where that job specialist title comes in. You follow them for 12 months
Yes.
after graduation.
Yes, I do a 12-month follow-up after graduation to ensure that they keep their jobs, to make sure that they get jobs, because some of them may not have jobs after they leave. And my job is to still help them with those skills and those competencies that they learned in order to help them get their careers.
Now, we said this was a grant program, and I read somewhere that you can get anywhere from like $13,000 to $21,000. Is that correct?
Yes, they allot us a certain amount of money to help with different funds that the students may need and to help get this program up and running as it should within the school.
I was going to ask you, those funds how are they used? And I know you've sent some of the students to Roanoke, and we're going to be talking later to one of the students that's kind of won something there. But does it pay for those types of things?
Yes, the funds not only pay for the things that we want to do with the school, but they pay for the conferences, they pay for the hotel stays and everything that we need to ensure that these students have a wonderful experience in this program, to make sure that they also get to go on different opportunities to increase their personal development skills as well as their career skills.
Now, all of the students that are in the class here today, are they placed in the class? Do they volunteer for the class? Or how do you get into this program?
Okay, well, Jobs for America Graduate states that the student must not only want it, but they must need it. And a lot of these students, like you said, are on their way to college, and some of them may go to the military, and the military is definitely still considered a career. So with that being said, we still do a follow-up with them even if they're just in the military.
Now, in looking at some of the background on it, it says that if you go through this program and you pass these competencies, after graduation, you're qualified, you are, let's say, work qualified.
Mm-hmm.
You or go on to post-secondary work of some type, or maybe technology school, that type of thing.
Right. With this program, you do get to go on to vocational school. We actually have people within our community to come speak with us. We just had Miss Rhonda Beavers Chandler from the Rehabilitation and Vocational Services, and she actually services those students who have IEPs that want to go to an additional training. So this is across the spectrum, helps each and every one of our students.
Now, if we're in this program and our goal is to make them job ready or ready for some type of post-secondary work, do we have local employers that have been working with them? Do you have any connections that, let's say I'm a graduate, I've been through the program, can you send me somewhere?
Definitely. we have made a partnership with the Virginia Workforce with their Youth on the Move program, and that program is very similar to Jobs for Virginia Graduates. It covers some of the same competencies, and they will come in and the students will fill out applications for that program, and they will help them also get prepared for jobs too.
So, filling out applications, resumes, and that type of thing, is that part of the program too?
Yes, that comes under our job attainment that shows you how to get the job. We do resumes, cover letters, we do mock interviews. My students are actually scheduled for their third mock interview because when they go out into the workforce, I want to make sure that they are prepared for absolutely any type of scenario when it comes to getting a job.
A mock interview, is that done by you, or do you get, let's say, employers for the community in, or is this something that you do yourself?
Usually I will conduct the mock interview. However, the CEO, Mr. Barry Glenn, has offered to actually come in and do mock interviews himself. So he comes in once a month and he'll speak to the children about, how the class is going and, what their career aspirations are. And so sometimes I will conduct the mock interviews and then Barry sometimes offers to do them as well.
Now, community involvement, is it part of this program? Because I read somewhere online where you had done something for Roman Eagle, I think it was last year or year before last. Is that part of this program that you do some community involvement?
Yes, with Jobs for Virginia Graduates, we have what we call a career association, which Ms. Tiara Edwards is president of. And with that, these students are required to do 10 personal hours of community service. We have made community outreach to God's Storehouse. We're actually doing pennies for patients, and we're doing a canned food drive with the Salvation Army for our Christmas season.
Pennies for patients, what is that?
That is a fundraiser that we're doing for lymphoma patients, and we collect pennies and send, and that goes towards their treatments.
Now, when you have these types of community involvement things, is everyone in this class involved, or is this something that just a few of them will volunteer for?
Well, because this is Jobs for Virginia Graduates, and it's a part of the program that, like I stated earlier, each student is required to do at least 10 personal hours of community service.
And they get to choose which thing they would like to do?
Yes, the Career Association is a student-led organization, so they get to choose what type of community service projects they do. They decide what kind of fundraisers they want to do. Because I'm the job specialist, would serve as the advisor, but most of the things that we do are solely the students.
How many jobs, you may or may not know this, how many of these jobs programs are in the state of Virginia? How many school districts roughly are doing Jobs for Virginia Graduates?
Well, I do know that, for one, Danville, I do know that they're out in Carroll County, Roanoke, and I think it's about 5 other schools.
Around the state?
Around the state. The Richmond, Goochland area, they also have the program as well.
Now, I know we have a special honor here for our Danville program. I think we had one of your students, and I'm going to get her up here in a minute, that is the president of the state Virginia Jobs for Virginia Graduates.
Yes.
Now, how did she do that?
Well, we were invited to attend a student leadership conference in Roanoke, Virginia. And they give the students the opportunity from each school to run for president and vice president. And what they had to do was they had to prepare a speech and deliver it at the conference stating why they should be the president for the Jobs for Virginia Graduates and what their career aspirations were and how those particular aspirations would help them in that particular position.
What's the young lady's name?
Miss Tiara Edwards. She is a senior. She's also in the running for valedictorian, and she's a graduate of distinction.
I think it's time to get her up here. Come on up here. Tiara, you're a senior.
Yes.
Now tell me about your speech. Now, Ms. Thomas said that you had to write a speech, and it was like a competitive speech, wasn't it?
Yes.
All right. Tell me about it.
My speech was about how my leadership was, how I could show other students how to be leadership, and also to encourage them to get a job.
Now, you are president of the Virginia Jobs for Virginia Graduates.
Yes.
What happens now for you? What do you do in that position?
I'm the president of Over Everybody. Now I'm going to be going to Washington, D.C. in the first week of December to be doing some more competitions.
Now, When you go to D.C., you'll probably be competing in what they call the Jobs for America's graduate, or is it still Jobs for Virginia graduates?
It's still job for Virginia graduates.
Now, I understand you're going to be going for Graduate of Distinction.
Yes.
You may be out there as a valedictorian.
Yes.
What's going to happen to you after you graduate?
I want to go to VCU. That was my biggest goal, to go to do computer science.
Computer science. You're going to be right on the cutting edge, aren't you?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of job do you want?
Something like Televista, building computers, repairing computers.
Work on that repairing computers, because I'm going to need you. Bad. Need you bad. I'm impressed. You've done a great job, and thanks for bringing the honor of being president of this association for the state of Virginia to our schools right here in Danville.
You're welcome.
In the few minutes we have before break, I'm going to kind of get around this classroom and see what some of these students have been up to and why they chose to be in here. I'm going to start right here, and who am I speaking to?
China Price.
Now, China, I understand you're a senior.
Yes, ma'am.
How did you get involved in this program?
My principal actually chose me to do this program.
What is it you want to do after graduation?
Well, I plan to go to the Air Force, and within that, I want to do forensics and pediatrics, and I choose to make pediatrics and forensics my career.
Air Force.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, how did you decide on that?
Well, in 8th grade, I took to it. My god brother actually is in the Navy, and I went up to the Navy base, and I didn't really like it because I like to swim, but I don't want to be on water. So I just decided to just
If
do
you
it
don't
in the
want to
Air
be
Force.
on water, don't go in the Navy now.
Yeah, so I just decided to do the Air Force. So that's what I'm doing after graduation.
Going to be a pilot?
Yeah,
Are you really?
yeah. And I'm going to do my forensics and pediatrics on the side.
Impressed.
Thank you.
Very impressed.
Thank you.
Name?
Matthew Hill.
Matthew, we were talking a little bit earlier about the part of this program is community service. Which thing did you decide you were going to do?
I believe we were talking about helping the librarians with their jobs.
You mean just at this school or all schools?
This school.
This school? Good. All right. How did you end up in this program?
I was chosen and asked, and I took it as a great opportunity.
Now, the component where you go out into the community, what are you doing?
I believe I'm going to do the God Storehouse
Why'd you choose God's Storehouse?
because I love God.
You know what? That was a good reason for choosing it. But they do some wonderful things.
Yes.
They work all over the United States, don't they?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
You know what? You're going to be good at it. What grade are you in?
I'm in 11th.
You're in 11th?
Yes, ma'am.
Next year you're a senior.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you hope to do after that?
I want to go to the Navy.
Okay, Navy. I just talked to a young lady that's going to the Air Force. She doesn't like the water. She's not going in the Navy.
Well, it's the wrong thing to do if you don't like water.
Thank you. We're going to take a short break now, but we want you to be sure and come back after the break because we've got another program that's going on here at Langston that you need to hear about.
Hello everyone, my name is Alexandra Reddy and I'm the Beta Club president here at Galileo Magnet High School. Let me tell you about Beta Club. Beta Club is a national academic club that focuses on community service. And in fact, our motto is let us lead by serving others. So every month, the Beta Club here at Galileo completes a service project for our community and also for our school. And then in February, we travel to the state convention where we compete with other schools in the areas of English, science, social studies, talent competitions, and it's a really awesome experience. But I also have the honor of being the Virginia State Beta Club president, an election that I won back in February at the convention. So this means that I have to travel to at least 2 other state conventions this year. There's North Carolina, South Carolina, all across the country that I am able to travel to. So I'm very blessed to be the state president, and I'm excited for what the year holds and making Galileo proud and making Virginia Beta proud.
Hello, my name is J.D. Edmonds, and this is my wife.
Janine Edmonds.
I am the Barnum Booster President, and I'm encouraging all you parents to get involved with your child's education, get involved with the community, and show your support for your kids' school.
continue to be that bridge between the community, school, and family.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we're at Langston Focus School. We spent the first half of the show with some students that are in what's called the Virginia Jobs for Virginia Graduates. In the second half of the show, we're going to be talking about another program here at Langston that's kind of along the same lines. It's all working towards either college or jobs. And I have with me an instructor from Danville Community College, and she's here to talk about this program. Very unique, dual enrollment right here in high school. Now, Ms. Pantasia, did I get that right?
It's Pantasis, yes.
Okay, it was a difficult one. Now, you're an instructor at DCC.
I am.
And you also work with these students. Tell me about this program.
Dual enrollment is a wonderful program where high school students get a chance to take college courses while they are still in high school. They get college credit and high school credit for the courses. And we found that by offering this type of course, the students who take it are much more likely to continue on with their higher education experience.
Now is it a special course like called dual enrollment? How do the students sign up? How do they get involved in it? What is it? If I say I want to be part of dual enrollment, what happens?
There are actually many different courses that are offered depending on what school you attend in high school. This particular course here at Langston is called College Success Skills. It's an SDV 100 course designed to introduce the students to what will be required, necessary skills.
In other words, it would be, if I sign up for this course, I'm actually taking a course that's being taught at DCC?
Absolutely. I also teach this course on campus to our full-time college students.
So, but I'm getting it here in high school.
Yes.
Now, if I decide after I graduate that I want to go to DCC, do I get credit for that?
Absolutely. You get credit for that class at DCC and at any other Virginia community college if you decided to move somewhere else within the state.
How does it count towards my graduation here in Danville Public Schools?
When you decide to enroll, there is a specific process you have to go through. So you'll have to speak with your guidance counselor. Everything's going to go through them in this program. And you'll have to first apply to Danville Community College, so you fill out a full application like any other student. And then you've got to go through and get permission from your parent and the principal of the school to take this dual enrollment course. That permission is when the principal is saying, yes, I will give you credit for, and then the principal gets to decide based on the course. If you're taking a dual enrollment science course, you will get high school science credit. So for this particular course, it can count as any number of different things depending on what the student needs, as long as it fulfills those same requirements.
Now, I'm a dual enrollment student, so I'm enrolled in Danville Public Schools and DCC.
Yes.
Do I take all my classes right here at Langston, or do I ever go to DCC during this class?
Just for this class, everything happens here on Langston's campus.
Okay. All right. Now, I want to maybe get around here and see if I can talk to some of the students about this class. Okay.
Thank you.
China, I just talked to you in the first half of the show. You are part of the Jobs for Virginia Graduates, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And here I run into you again in dual enrollment.
Yes, ma'am.
You're a busy girl.
Yes.
Going in the Air Force, I remember that.
Yes.
Tell me about how did you and why did you get involved in dual enrollment?
Well, my counselor, Mrs. Chandler, and my principal, Ms. Fitzgerald, they actually chose me to do this program because of the courses that I want to do when I graduate from here. So they told me this will be a good start for me when I leave and graduate to go to college in the Air Force too.
Let me ask you something. You may not know the answer to this, but I can find out from the DCC instructor. If you take this course, you pass this course, and you don't go to DCC, do you still carry a credit with you?
Yes.
Okay. So it would apply at other schools?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I notice behind me and everyone in the class is sitting in front of a computer. Is most of your work done on the computer for this?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, is that a computer system where you're working through DCC?
Yes, ma'am.
Directly with DCC?
Yes, ma'am.
Nice talking to you again.
Nice talking to you.
You're in dual enrollment. Why?
Miss Fitzgerald and Miss Chandler signed me up for this class because the classes I'm taking on there help me graduate.
What are you looking for now? What grade are you in?
The 11.
11th? So you're going to be a senior next year, aren't you?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you want to be?
A pediatrician.
Oh, hard work, hard work.
Yeah,
How do you like this class?
I like it. It teaches me a lot.
Good, good. And I'm going to get over here to our state president of Jobs for Virginia Graduates and ask you once again, how'd you get in this class and why'd you get in this class?
My principal and my counselor signed me up for this class. And I'm in this class because I may want to attend DCC before I go to VCU.
Now, the credit that you get for this, you can take to VCU with you?
Yes.
Sounds pretty good. How do you feel being in high school? You're a senior, but you're taking college courses, right?
I feel like a genius.
You know what? You're pretty close to a genius. Thanks. I've just been talking to some of the students about being in this class. Now, when I asked them how they got in the class, they said that their guidance counselor and the principal recommended them for the class. Do students ever come in and say, I want to be in dual enrollment, or is it sort of like an invitation type thing?
In many cases, the invitation helps and just smooths the student's way. But if a student comes in and requests through their guidance counselor or their principal to take dual enrollment classes, there is a way to make that happen as well.
I would imagine that most students wouldn't even know what a dual enrollment is.
That's true. We have to do quite a bit of working with the schools. DCC comes into the high school and says, here's what dual enrollment is. Here's how you can earn college credits while you're in school.
So in the spring or something, or in the fall, they come in and let all students know this at all high schools?
We attempt to, yes. There are always some students who miss programs and that sort of thing. But yes, we like to go into each school. Danville Community College also puts what we call career coaches into each high school here in the school system.
What's a career coach?
A career coach is a person who has works for Danville Community College, but in the high schools to work with all of the high school students to get them considering the future, to work with them to make a plan. How do I become a pediatrician? Well, here you go. First, you've got to get through high school, preferably with good grades. Then you need to go and take higher education. You've got to get through your bachelor's degree and then into a master's program and then into your doctoral programs. So we sit down and say, here's how you can do that if you don't want to leave the area, or if you want to go to Hawaii, or if you want to join the military. Here's what they're looking for. They're to the point where they won't just take any high school graduates. So we help these high school students get to where they want to be.
I think that's a very important service, because I think a lot of students will say, I want to be, but they don't really know what the trip is to get from what I want and whatever it is they want to be. So that's really a valuable service. Now, one of the things that I kept asking the students is, because they would say they weren't leaving here and going to DCC, the credit that they get in this class, I'm assuming will apply at any Virginia college or any college. How does that work? How do they take this with them if they're not leaving here and going to DCC?
That's a great question, and it is actually different for every college that you might attend. This is a college credit. It will stay on their transcripts as a college credit, and when they apply to any school, they can say that they have college credit. What will happen is if you decide to go and apply to Virginia Tech straight out of high school, you'll say, I have college experience. You'll write down this course, and then they do what is called a credit transfer evaluation. And they have, they know what all of Virginia community colleges require you to take this particular course. They know what it is, and so they'll say, wonderful, you have one college credit. This is a 1 credit hour course, and they'll consider it an elective if they don't want to consider it as an exact requirement for something else that they require.
Once I take this course, it comes to the end of the year. When we first walked in, I heard somebody talking about taking midterms or something like that. Do I pass a test at the end of the year in order to qualify for this 1 hour of credit? How does the grading, I guess that's what I'm saying, how does the grading work for those students that are in this particular dual enrollment class?
So the grading scale is just as any other college course that you would take at Danville Community College. So we're in a 10-point scale here. But what happens is the instructor gets to set, will your midterm count for 20% of your final grade or 10%, that sort of thing. Okay. Each course will be different that you take. This particular course has quite a bit of in-class work, projects, and then also a midterm and a final, because the students really need to get used to that full-time college curriculum. So it is certainly work, but most of our students, especially these who you've talked to, they've all got very good grades right now. In order to get their high school credit, generally it's up to the principal to decide you must get a C in order for me to give you that high school credit or not. But again, case-by-case basis, depending on the principal and the school, the course that they're taking.
Case by case, school by school. I want to thank you for talking with me, because you really gave me an awful lot of information. I've known all for many, many years about dual enrollment, but never really got down and talked about the mechanics, and you've really straightened us out on that. And I think it's really neat that Danville Public Schools and Danville Community College can work together like this. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ms. Fitzgerald, I want to thank you for letting us know about some of the things that are going on here at Langston. We've looked at 2 programs today, the Jobs of Virginia Graduates and the DCC and DPS dual enrollment. Yes. Both of these programs have something in common. They're leading to what these students are going to do when they leave school. It's either a job or going on to college, going on to the military. It's absolutely fascinating, the things that are going on.
Yes, and we're so excited. Delisa Chandler works hard with our students to make sure they're prepared for college, and just the counseling piece of it and partnering with Danville Community College along with the Teen GED program has been a wonderful opportunity with our school.
And I think you're to be congratulated that we've got the president, the Virginia State president of the Jobs for Virginia Graduates. Everybody here is doing a good job. I've enjoyed talking with everyone here today, especially the students, and I want to thank you for inviting us.
As always, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for being with us this week, and you be sure and come back next week, because we're going to be somewhere else in Danville Public Schools seeing what's going on.